you seen Star Wars?
A lot of Star Wars fans felt that John Boyega's character in the sequel trilogy, Finn, was a wasted opportunity and kind of took a sidelined role after The Force Awakens. To be honest, he was the most relatable character and the most interesting in that film, but after Episode 7, his character arc did not really go anywhere. And in a recent interview with GQ, John actually spoke a lot more about his frustrations, and this showed a lot more about how he felt dealing with the Star Wars situation. He even talks about not feeling like he was able to wear his hair the way he wanted, or wear the style of clothes he liked during the press tours for The Force Awakens due to his stylist and other things. The article reads like this. In the continued afterglow of that first Star Wars film, he continued to notice a stylist he hired when he first started doing press tours, cringing at certain clothes I wanted to go for, says Boyega, the hairdresser who had no experience of working with hair like this, but still had the guts to pretend. And he decided that he could no longer grin and bear it like a grateful competition winner. Boyega goes on to say, during the press of The Force Awakens, I went along with it, and obviously at the time I was very genuinely happy to be a part of it, but my dad always tells me one thing, don't overpay with respect. You can pay respect, but sometimes you'll be overpaying and selling yourself short. The article goes on to say, with the Lucasfilm-branded elephant in the room acknowledged, it is even harder to ignore. This is Boyega's first substantial interview since finishing the franchise. His first since last year's The Rise of Skywalker tied a highly contentious, hurried ribbon on the 43-year-old space saga. How does he reflect on his involvement and the way the newest trilogy was concluded? And these next quotes are from John Boyega. It's so difficult to maneuver. You get yourself involved in projects and you're not necessarily going to like everything. But what I would say to Disney is not to bring out a black character, market them to be so much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. It's not good, I'll say it straight up. He is talking about himself here, about the character of Finn, the former stormtrooper who wielded a lightsaber in the first film before being somewhat nudged to the periphery. But he's also talking about other people of color in the cast, notably Naomi Ackie, I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, and Kelly Marie Tran, and even Oscar Isaac, and they say he is a brother from Guatemala, who feels suffered the same treatment. He is acknowledging that some of these people will say he's crazy or making it up, but the reordered character hierarchy of The Last Jedi was particularly hard to take. John goes on to say, like, you guys knew what to do with Daisy Ridley, you knew what to do with Adam Driver, you knew what to do with these other people, but when it came to Kelly Marie Tran, when it came to John Boyega, you know, fuck all. So what do you want me to say? What they want you to say is, I enjoyed being a part of it and it was a great experience. Nah. I'll take that deal when it's a great experience. They gave all the nuance to Adam Driver, all the nuance to Daisy Ridley. Let's be honest, Daisy knows this, Adam knows this, everybody knows. I'm not exposing anything. The article goes on to say he is on a breathless roll now, breaking his long corporate omerta to touch on the unthinking, systematic mistreatment of black characters and blockbusters. They're always scared, they're always freaking sweating. And that what he sees as the relative salvage job that returning director J.J. Abrams performed on The Rise of Skywalker. And John says, everybody needs to leave my boy alone. He wasn't even supposed to come back and try to save your shit. Even though he has acknowledged that it was an amazing opportunity and a stepping stone that has precipitated so much good in his life and career, he is palpably accelerated to be finally saying all of this. But to dismiss these words as merely professional bitterness or paranoia is to miss the point. His primary motivation is to show the frustrations and difficulties of trying to operate within what can feel like a permanently rigged system. He is trying really to let you know what it feels like to have a boyhood dream ruptured by the toxic realities of the world. And that's the end of the article when it comes to the Star Wars talk. There's a lot more to it if you want to learn a little bit more about John Boyega and his opinions on things and some of his life stories. But I have to commend John on his statements here. He's speaking out on a lot of the issues people had with this character in the sequel trilogy, which was really just a lack of character and proper development. The Force Awakens marketing really made it seem like he was going to be the main character and even the Jedi of the story, and it's fine that they misled us and then ended up having Rey being the Jedi and the main character, but what were they planning on doing with this character? I mean, what was the goal for Finn? He even makes great points about Poe and Rose in the films, played by Oscar Isaac and Kelly Marie Tran. Oscar even said during the press tour for Rise of Skywalker that he wished they just kept his character killed off in The Force Awakens, and I could imagine why. Oscar is a tremendous actor, and his character arc was barely worth a mention in the last two films, and Rose had a rough start with The Last Jedi, which led to a lot of backlash towards Kelly Marie Tran, online at least, and towards her and her character, so The Rise of Skywalker was a great opportunity to build her character more, and also she basically did nothing, kinda like Poe and kinda like Finn. Now, I personally don't think this is a sign of racism on the part of Disney, who is easily one of the most left-wing companies out there, and we all know how non-racist the left-wing party is, right? But it does seem a little bit more than convenient that the black guy, Latino guy, and the Asian woman all were used to show diversity in the new Star Wars films, but the focus of these films was all centered on the white lady who has the Star Wars universe version of Hitler as her grandfather. This is what happens when a company like Disney tries too hard to focus on meeting a specific political agenda, like casting a diverse cast to show how progressive they are, instead of casting people that are right for the roles and right for the story, or even focusing on simply the story. He even references Naomi, who played Jaina in Rise of Skywalker, and she was great in the film, but also had little to no importance in the movie because The Rise of Skywalker spent so much time either fixing what The Last Jedi did or setting up the plot for the finale. A lot of people said it felt like two films in one. And let's go back to John. He did get the worst of it by Star Wars fans back in 2015. I remember very well the stupid narrative by certain fans claiming that a black guy cannot be a stormtrooper. Yes, Daisy Ridley did receive a lot of online backlash, but if you recall, that was only in 2016 after she got very political and started making comments about guns and whatnot. There's a really good trend of, history showing that if you get political and you're one of these high celebrity actors or whatever, you're gonna get some backlash. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, you get political, you're gonna get hate. Even Kelly Marie Tran got unnecessary hate for a role in Star Wars, but lost some of that innocence when she blamed it on white people. You guys remember that? John Boyega here speaks volumes, and a lot of people properly pointed out that the announcement on the Mandalorian Season 2 release date came out the exact same day this interview was released. Coincidence? I think not, which also does not help the narrative, because then it would seem like Disney is trying to silence a black man speaking out against the system of racism in Hollywood and being silenced by the system that claims not to be racist. Now, do I think they did not develop his character Finn because he is black? No, not at all. But I do think it shows a lack of planning that went into the sequel trilogy of films, and the hypocrisy of companies like Disney who want to force diversity to meet certain leftist agenda but never actually develop stories for the diverse cast, because maybe they weren't really trying to get a diverse cast for diversity's sake and telling stories that can speak to all races, cultures, and nationalities. Maybe they just wanted to look diverse so no one could say they weren't being diverse. My friends, there is no winning when you play modern day politics, because the goalpost is always changing, and Disney lost that game big time when it came to the sequel trilogy. Maybe the next Star Wars films will focus on telling a story instead of meeting a certain narrative and agenda enforced by political correctness. But tell me your thoughts below. What do you think about John Boyega speaking out against Disney and the treatment of non-white actors in the Star Wars sequels? Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, because it does help out the channel. I'm Star Wars Only. I will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.